Cool. Good to go.
Okay, begin with karakia. Kia horo te marino, kia whakakapa punangu te moana. Hei huari rahi, mā tātou I te rangi nei. Aroha atu, aroha mai. Tātou ia tātou katoa. Ue e, kaiki e. May peace be widespread, may the sea be like greenstone. A pathway for us all this day. Let us show respect for each other, for one another. Bind us all together. Okay. Health and safety briefing in the event of emergency. You can see out the door and out the front of the building. There are apologies. They have leave of absence for Tom and Lorna. So because we have leave of absence, do we need to that's
No,
okay?
that's all good. That's all already.
Okay, announced urgent business. Well, it's really just, are there any other discussion items that we're not expecting to get anywhere on, but discussion items? I think one of them was to do with an update on council amalgamations. And I just wanted to mention something about the rubbish bin at the top of Conical Hill that came up on Facebook, that there was concern about. Anything else from anyone? No?
No. I'm going to put the leave up.
Oh, sorry.
If you go for the trim, you take the rubbish back with you.
Oh, we'll come back to that.
We'll get back to that.
So minutes for confirmation, starting on page 5.
Madam Chair, I've already picked up 2 errors, which was that I put that Hamish was here last meeting, but Dean Harris, I've altered that. And I've also altered under the apology, I've put Lorna instead of Anne. I've just mixed up 2 names, so I'll fix that.
Okay,
Page, so you will get there.
okay, page 6.
Page 6, Isley and Slow, just one spelling. They are
Yep. No problem.
Yep, I had that one too. And just going back up to the helipad,
Yes.
there's 2 things joined together there. The response received from Richard Campbell was regarding the stone plinths. So that's a separate conversation. And
That's right there.
yeah.
Do you want to put in there about the helipad is opening on the 1st of August?
Yeah, we'll come back to matters arising.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Page 7. Page 8. And page 9. I was just looking at the recommendation there. It said that Hanmer staff house costs go towards the disc golf project. I was pretty sure we said house staff, Hanmer staff fund is used for the disc golf project.
What do you think you said for him?
Rather than costs, we said the fund. The staff house fund is used for, or goes towards.
I can double check the recording and edit that. That's no problem.
Yeah. And certainly that was the intention. Okay, so matters arising, page 5. Page 6. The stone plinths, there is already a job order out, I understand, for that. Richard Campbell no longer does this work as he is quite ill. And there is another group who are doing those kind of jobs around Hanmer now. The cycle signage, Josie did contact me and let me know that she would be looking at a report for our next meeting, which is what, August. we have looked at the areas that we would put some signage in. There's the area at Pool Lane where you come out of Pool Lane onto Conical Hill Road, and people ride their bikes through there and have nearly knocked the child down. So the best place to put a sign there is a painted sign on the ground, so that as a rider is coming through, it says no riding of your bikes through this area. The other places to put signs is there's a council post at the just where you go into the car park outside of where the real estate people is, at the top end, the north end of the shops, and at the south end where PJ's is, there's the council gardens where a sign could be placed there that could also indicate the same thing.
Even on the footpath? Could we put one?
No, talking with Josie, that wasn't probably a favoured option. It's
Okay.
probably the only option when you come through Pool Lane, but possibly not a favoured option on the footpath at either end of that shopping area.
Okay.
As I understand it, and I think one of you may be able to help me there too, there's been some other incidents where people have taken their bikes, they just ride through the middle of all the people and the tables and chairs, which we asked rent from for the people in the shops, and it's not really that comfortable. Somebody apparently parked there, one of the four-wheel bikes that are rented out here and go around the village with a great deal of hilarity. Just rode in and parked up there as well, and it just doesn't make it very comfortable when there's lots of people around. So at least dismounting would be the most we could ask for, the best we could ask for. So that was the cycles. The new sign that we asked for down Argolan's Road, that shows that there is a corner coming up, is there, and it says a speed limit of 25 on it, so thank you, Dan, for that. And in terms of the headstones at the cemetery, Josie also said to me that there is go ahead for there's a council truck that has a high ab on it. The stones, when I was looking into it, the stones are too heavy to lift back onto the graves, the ones that haven't been done. I mean, a lot of them had been done, but some that hadn't. Too heavy to lift onto the graves, and so they have been able to secure at some stage the high ab truck to help lift some of those stones, which are incredibly heavy. I think that was all on page 6. So page 6, page 7, anything?
I'll just back to page 6, Alice. So shall we date that the helipad opens on the 1st of August?
Yeah. Thank you. That's they've sent out invitations for that, so it'll be quite amazing to get that underway. Page 7, page 8. The stump on Bristol Street's been removed. There's still a whole lot of cones sitting there, but the stump's been removed. So page 8, anything else? Page 9, anything?
No.
Okay, so someone like to move those minutes, or I'll move those minutes be accepted with those changes. Somebody second that, please. Leo seconded. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. On to page 10. So there's a recommendation here that council, or that the Hanmer Springs Community Board approve or decline the 8,000 fee waiver. The Lodge Reserve. So there are some implications here and some questions that I had. Is the Lodge Reserve a local reserve or a district reserve?
I think it's local. That's why you
I
get.
thought it was local.
You get the delegation on the market.
Amery Avenue, Chronicle Hill and Dog Stream, it says in our delegations, are the ones that are funded from the general rate.
Yeah.
So it doesn't include Lodge Reserve. Okay, so that alters the cost because at this stage, the cost there of 8,000 includes the Lodge Reserve and Amery Avenue. And then the other thing that alters the cost is it's only 16 days for the festival. There's 2 days packing up and packing down either side, but that actually related to the skate rink on Queen Mary, not to Amery Avenue and Lodge Reserve for lighting. So it's 16 days. So that brings that remittance, as far as I can understand, down to 3,200. And then I have one other question. I just wanted to, under financial implications on page 11, number 5, can I please have an explanation for what that means?
Well, Madam Chair, I mean, there's a cost to these things. So there's administration costs and there's other bits and pieces that generally fees cover. So if you waive the fee, then there's going to be a bunch of costs. And I don't know what they are specifically. I generally don't get involved in it, of course, but there will be a bunch of administrative fees that you would end up covering through the amenity rate.
So the admin fees would not amount to 3,200 though, would they?
I suspect not.
Not even close. Okay, and so when council remits a fee, like for instance, they have already remitted, I understand, the fee for the Queen Mary for the use of the skate park, what happens to those fees and how does the administration get paid for those?
They're paid for out of the general reserve rate.
Which is a district rate.
Yep.
So in this case, it has to come out of our amenity rate.
Yep.
But when it comes to Queen Mary, it comes out of the district rate.
Yep.
I must admit, I've got something of a problem with that because it's all the same thing. We're doing this as a, like there's enough hard stuff going on at the moment. We're scrimping and saving to do a whole lot of work that will bring people to Hanmer Springs, which is great for the pools, which is great for the whole of the Huranui district. And so the council can remit a fee for Queen Mary that then comes out of the general rate if there's any administration cost. And I'm sure it won't be the exact amount. And then we're getting something here that indicates we're going to have to pay $3,200 from our amenity rate into the general rate. I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with it. And I would like to think that we could ask the council to remit that fee totally and that any administration comes out of the general rate because it's the same thing. The event that's going on in Queen Mary with the skating is no different. This is all part of the same festival.
So if we apply that principle, we should apply it district-wide, do you think?
I think it do.
Yeah. So if they have an event in Jevia or the local reserve, all ratepayers in the Haru should pay for that.
Really depends what we're doing. I think in this case, we're doing a festival that is good for the pools, sure, it's good for Hanmer, but it's good for the pools, it's good for therefore for the Huranui. It's the same thing as remitting the fee for Queen Mary. The council remitting that fee for Queen Mary.
So I guess this is the difference between local reserves and district reserves. And local reserves, you have the delegation, you have the authority, but of course with great power comes great responsibility. So, you know, that's why it sits there.
Yeah, the Queen Mary, I mean, I think it's got an annual budget of in excess of 100,000. So if you want delegation over that, then you end up got to pay for that maintenance budget too.
We're not asking for delegation over that. I'm just pointing out the inconsistency of us having to pay $3,200 when I can see that the Queen Mary having their fee remitted, nothing will happen. There'll be no change. There will just simply be an administration cost, which will be significantly less than 3,200 or whatever Queen Mary's cost was.
Well,
And I'm just looking at the fairness of that.
I can't answer whether the full cost is transferred. Dan, do you know? I know that when, for example, we waive a building consent fee, then the building department has to deal with that. We waive a resource consent fee, then the planning department has to pay for it out of their own budgets. And they have a similar sort of concern that you do, but that's the way it rolls. And you know, when you have authority over your budget, then you end up having to take the good bits and the bad bits.
I have a feeling there is a fee to use the toilets at the Soldiers Block, which is then recouping the same amount of money. I think Judith mentioned something about that earlier today.
Can we just leave that one so you can follow up that? But the other thing I would like is that we can ask the council to only recover the actual costs of the admin rather than 3,200, given that this is a festival that is going to be for this community, but also bring people to the pools, and it's going to be a district benefit.
So who is the major sponsor of this festival? Who puts all the time and money into it?
Everybody, including the pools.
Well, I'd say the pool's more than anybody actually.
Yeah,
Organising things like skating rinks and various things.
that's right.
So-
And that's also through the business association.
But yeah, but
A lot of that is through the business
yeah, the
association.
pool's the major driver in this. It's not like council's not putting money in.
We're all putting money in, we're all doing it hard, and we're all putting money in, and I'm just asking that we should be able to ask council to remit that and just charge the actual cost of the administration, which could not possibly come to $3,200.
I'm not stopping you from asking Alice. I mean, you're in your rights to ask for anything you like.
But you're pointing out that it isn't reasonable.
I'm just saying we need to think about the logic of this and where the money's coming from and who benefits and who pays for it and where the delegations sit.
I think I'm a bit lost at the moment. Can you just explain why are you expected to pay $3,200?
Okay, so the total cost of the reserve hire, it says here, is $8,000, which is $200 a day. So the only way I can get to that $8,000 is if I take 20 days and multiply that by 200 plus 200. So $400 for each of those reserves. We've already established that the Lodge Reserve is our own reserve. So why would we have to remit money and pay into the general rate for our own reserve if we remit that fee?
So I don't think you're paying the remitted fee. I think you're paying the administration costs.
Yeah.
It could not possibly cost $8,000 to administer this. document.
I'm not saying that it does, Alice, I'm saying that if we are getting some money from the amenity rate for this, we're not taking $3,200, we're taking whatever it costs to do the administration.
So whoever's been involved in this process allocates their time to a timesheet. So you might pay them for 2 hours worth of labour.
Thank you, that answers my question, because my question was about number 5. What are those costs? Is it the $3,200 or is it just the admin cost? And I'm saying it should only be the admin cost, and you're saying that that is the case. So we're right. Yeah,
Yeah, those costs will come out of the amenity rate.
but it is only the admin cost.
That's my
It's not going to be like this. You're not talking about the
No, it's not like make good, the fee.
Thank you. That's what my question was what does that number 5 make up? So it's just the admin fee. I can live with that. Thank you.
So it's not an admin fee, it's just the cost of administration.
Yep, I can live with that. But in terms of the waiver request was for Emery Avenue and Lodge Reserve. So what would happen normally there, because Emery Avenue is a district reserve, would that not have gone to the council?
It looks like it should go to the council, but I guess you could make a recommendation on that one as well.
Because that's what our delegation says.
Oh, it's got that, right?
Yeah.
You've got that.
So I've got delegation of district reserves to waive fees on the majority.
Okay,
But when we waive a fee on a district reserve, that means that that reserve is no longer credited with that amount of income, so there's less money in the account.
yes, we understand that.
So rates end up making up the balance because of zero sum accounts.
I think from that point of view, I'm picking, but the board can talk about it, that we would be happy to remit that, simply because of the benefit to the community and to everyone else. But my starting question was about the fees and what that number 5 meant. And I was hearing from you that then meant that was that $8,000. But you're saying now it's not, it's just an admin fee.
Not now, I don't think I said it at all.
Yeah. So you're foregoing whatever the
Yep.
fee to use that reserve is.
But it said, should the fee waiver be approved, the costs will be recovered from the amenity rate account.
Yeah, the costs.
But so you're talking about the cost of the admin fee, and that's what I was asking, and that wasn't made clear. So thank you. We've got it.
Okay. Well, I have, but that's all right. If you got it, I'm happy.
Well, I was just wondering what, under summary, the previous fee rate granted in 2025, I don't get that one either. So,
Yeah, we granted the fee waiver in 2025.
yep, okay. So no different than that,
No different.
right,
That's
that
okay.
makes sense. And next year,
Well, we haven't got next year's one running because we don't know whether it'll go ahead next year. Then when and if it does, it'll come to you again.
Okay, right. So we're happy to move that recommendation now that we've cleared up all that. Thank
So
you.
what did we actually decide we're going to be paying from the amenities rate if required?
It's just admin fees. I don't know what they are.
Oh, that, okay, yeah.
What Dan explained was that it would be the cost of the admin person's time. They fill out their timesheets and that cost would be applied.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Ooh-wee. Right, okay, someone would like to move that recommendation? Oh,
Backtrack this for me, Madam Chair. So am I changing the $8,000 figure, or am I leaving that as a?
I think you should note there that the figure is for the Lodge Reserve only. And I'm not sure what the fees are for the Lodge Reserve, but that the Murray Avenue Reserve is a council reserve, and I don't know, Alice, you might wish to recommend to council that they waive that.
yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Thank you. Okay. So first of all, we recommend that the Hanmer Springs Community Board approve the fee waiver of $3,200.
No, I'm not sure how much it is, I'll have to have a look and.
It's 16 days at $200. And that's for the Lodge Reserve. So that's 3,200. So the Hanmer Springs Community Board approved the fee waiver from the Alpine Winter Festival organisers for use of the Amiri Reserve and the Lodge, of the Lodge Reserve, forget about Amiri Avenue for now, for the Alpine Winter Festival show from the 3rd to the 18th of July.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm moving that. Someone like to second that?
I'll second it. Yeah, whatever.
It's all right, Boyo did.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. And then a second recommendation that okay, so I'll do that one first. So Boyer has seconded that, so I'll put that motion regarding the Lodge Reserve. All those in favour? Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Right, so the second motion is that the Hanmer Springs Community Board recommend to council that they waive the fee for Amiri Avenue Reserve for the Alpine Winter Festival between the 3rd and the 18th of July. So clearly I'm not the only one that's been confused about that whole thing. Okay, so is there a seconder for that one?
I'll second that, or Chris can. I'm missing out.
Okay, I'll put that motion. All in favour? Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry for that, but it just was confusing. American Community Arts Council Arts Gallery display. That's as it has been basically, so there's no recommended change there, simply that the lease had lapsed and it's a requirement for there to be a lease or a license. So if anyone would like to approve, well, the recommendation is there that the Hanmer Springs Community Board approves the granting of the license to occupy the Amiri Community Arts Council for part of the Hanmer Springs Library, Gallery and Service Centre building, approves a term of 3 years from a commencement date with one right of renewal for 3 years, approves the license to be issued essentially on the same terms and conditions as the previous agreement, including a peppercorn rental, if any. Has there been a rental in the past? I don't believe there has. I just think it's a great community asset. It's great that community people get involved in it. So I'm happy for there to be no rental at all. But
I presume it starts from now rather than picking up from when it ran out in 23.
yeah. Okay, and the delegates the authority to the chief executive officer to finalise and execute the licence to occupy. So if you're happy with that recommendation, someone like to move?
I just got a question, do you not get to see the new license to operate? Contract or agreement or whatever,
Well, it isn't here, no.
well, they will get done. Yes, then,
Yeah, we don't generally put the license or releases out to community groups to see them.
okay. That's okay then, thank you. Yeah.
It's hard to approve something when you don't have it in front of you, though, isn't it?
Well, we don't know what it is unless we get agreement up front and then it's fait accompli because we've already got an agreed lease or an agreed license that you're signing off on. So we wait to get your views and feedback and then we prepare it. And that's why we're saying that Hamish then has the final approval to sign it off.
Okay. But there has been one in the past, so it's the same conditions, so there must have been one that we would have been able to see, but I don't know that it will change anything in particular, and it is a free rental, and we can see for ourselves what's there. As I said, it's a great community facility, great work that they do, so I'm probably happy with that.
We can make a note that the license is to be circulated to the community board, once it's been signed off, so that we've actually got a copy of it.
Thank you.
You can do this part of the resolution. It
Okay.
doesn't get lost.
Yes.
Just adding that now.
Add that. Okay, so we've added that we circulate the lease to the board members when that's finalised. Someone like to move that recommendation, please.
I will.
Yes, and then Boyer second. Put that motion all in favour. Right.
Aye.
Thank you. That's carried. Disc golf. So, we're just going to put can you see that now, you guys? Yep.
Yep.
It didn't print in the agenda, so that is the layout of the disc golf that Vortica has brought to us. And if there's any comments in relation to that, I just think it's really layout
I think so too.
and a great use for the reserve. I think it's really pleasing to see. And I know I've had a lot of comment from people wanting to know, there's been a lot of comment on Facebook too, wanting to know when it's coming back. So, yeah, they'll be very pleased to hear it. We're wondering if we can have some publicity. Is there something that the council can put up on our local Facebook page, please, in relation to this, and maybe the layout and that it's actually going to happen?
Would it be better just to report as to when it's going to happen, or are we, if you put the layout, are we opening ourselves up to people saying it's not right? Yes, it looks good. Positives rather than negatives.
I don't know. I like things to be out there so people can see it. I'm happy to take comments.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
suppose they've
that
already
is
commented.
something
I suppose they, yeah, they have.
Advertising it, sorry, that it's coming back on. This is the design that Vortica has done for us. They're a company that knows about doing. So I think that kind of thing could be explained in the publicity.
Yeah, true. Okay.
But I agree with that too, and I think it's a really good opportunity for the HDC to take some credit for this. They take a lot of bashing for different things, but this is excellent.
And the community board.
And the community board.
Yeah, I just think it's a good opportunity to put something out there for people to see.
Through the
Yep.
chair, I can make that natural and talk to our content.
Thank you. Okay, so there's a recommendation. Would somebody like to move that? Anne, were you going to move that?
Oh, yes, I was going to move that. Yep, thank you.
Okay, that's moved by Anne, seconded by
Yeah,
Chris. Put that motion all in favour. Against carried. And a note that we do some publicity through the Hiranui page and through the local Hanmer Facebook page. Thank you.
Even if, Nathan, you send us up an A3 copy of that plan, I can put it up on the notice board, even in the library.
No problem.
Yeah.
okay.
Thanks, Anne. Right. Page 21. Fee waiver request for the Hanmer Springs Memorial Hall. So the last time we could find anything on this was 2024. And I did ask Nathan for the recommendation that we made as a board back then. And it was a partial remittance of fee. So the recommendation that we made back then was that the Hanmer Springs Home and School Fundraising Committee pay the fee for the hall for the commercial night of the Stars in Your Eyes performance, which at the time was 160, but now I understand it's 189 a night, and the fee for the night prior and day after be remitted. So there it is up on the screen. And for consistency, unless there's any other reason, we may wish to make the same recommendation that we remit the fees either side, but we ask for payment for the hall on the commercial night. As it is a fundraiser, but they also do collect money for it. So that was the reasoning I seem to recall as to why we made that recommendation last time. Okay, so that would leave an amount of 285 that we're remitting and charging 189 for the night. So if I just read that through again, so
Madam Chair,
yes,
would you not consider that community charitable use rather than commercial use?
because all I can recall from the last time, and I'm just for consistency's sake, yes, it is charity that they are using the hall for, but at the same time, it is a commercial. There will be cleaning costs.
Yeah, but cleaning costs are separate.
Where?
If you look at the fees and charges, at the top, it says cleaning all halls, $162.
Oh, you're looking at the fees and charges listing?
Yeah.
Yes. But they don't get charged that, do they?
I don't know.
They don't.
No, that's separate.
That comes out of what they pay.
Well, the way our fees and charges are structured, all halls, all cleaning for private events, if available, $162.
I think that's a separate charge, Alice. Yes, I think you're right, Hamish.
So it hasn't said anything on here though about that. And so the assumption last time would have been that would have covered those costs.
Yeah, I mean, we change the fees and charges around year to year, and so sometimes we structure them differently. So, yeah, I don't know.
What would have been helpful if it just told us all that, that's all, because that would have been the reasoning behind it. But anyway, so what you're saying is that they will be charged that cleaning cost anyway.
unless you waive it.
Well, hang on, is the cleaning cost included in the fee? Or is it a separate cost?
I think it's a separate cost, but I'm not sure.
I mean, if it's included in the fee, then I would still go with what we did last time. If it's not included in the fee and it's a separate cost that they will be paying, then I'm happy to waive the whole fee.
There's a single line item that says hall cleaning for private events. This is all halls, $162. And further down on the fees and charges, it says the Hanmer Springs Hall. And then it's got some charges depending on who's using it.
So if we can get some clarification on that, please.
Madam Chair, can I draw everyone to point 7 under financial implications, which might or may not help. The fees and charges are set to cover the costs to manage and maintain halls and reserves.
And that's what I'm basing my comments on and my understanding of the reason we made that recommendation last time.
Because it looks to me, if there are 3 days of use and they're a community organisation, that'd be 3 days at $70 a day. $71 a day, or whatever the fee is.
$210 plus your 160 for cleaning.
Yeah.
Still $70. That's probably why you did your major resolution last time. The one that you did, that's probably the whole cleaning cost back then,
Okay,
maybe.
so the whole cleaning cost is, tell me,
162.
okay, and we based it on that night, so I still go with what I was saying then, that we make this resolution the same as we did last time. So can you put that up, please? Just again,
Yep.
that resolution from last time.
Yep. Right, I'll say it now. There we go. There we go.
Okay. So that's our resolution there. The changes are that instead of 160, it's 189. And the remitted amount is 285. So pay for the fee for the commercial night, the Stars in Your Eyes performance of 189, and the fee for the night prior or the nights prior and after to be remitted, and that's 285. Someone like to move that resolution, or any other comments in relation to that?
We're basically just claiming the cleaning fee.
Yep. Plus a tiny bit, probably admin.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so is that moved? Someone moved that? Oh, Chris, second.
I'll second it. Oh.
Okay. So move Chris, seconded Anne. I'll put that motion all in favour. Aye, against, carried. Thank you. Hard if you don't have the right information. Okay. The discussion items, we've got snow clearing contingency plan. On page 24 onwards. So if I just go through it page by page, and if anyone, I'm assuming this has been read, and if anyone's got any comments on any of those pages, please say so. So page 25 and 26. Page 27 and 28. On page 27, that very last bullet point, there's a list of contacts there, and one of them is HDC 3 Waters Field Ops Manager. What needs to happen with that one?
So that'll usually transfer through to the Kaikoura Water Services. But at the moment, it's still a person
Until the 1st of July.
till the 1st of July.
So do we make a note of that in there, make a change saying that until the 1st of July, it's the Field Ops Manager, and then after that it's Kaikoura, so that it's already in the plan?
Yep.
So that change? I'm sorry, what is the shortened abbreviation?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Okay, page 29. There's just a tiny thing here on that A at the top. And at the very last comment, it says for clarity, how long is the event predicted to take, how heavy, and to what altitudes? To what, it should be above what altitudes? I don't know, it's just a word. Because that's how snow works.
No.
And then number 5, down under during the event, has got a bit mixed up. It says Oregon Heights, actually should belong, number 5 should belong to the previous number 4, because it's Oregon Heights, Alpine Ave, Oregon Heights. And the other one that's not included in there, but it's up on the hill and has some very steep rises there, is Thomas Hanmer Drive. I mean, just a thought in A, because it says this is, you know, what happens once we've done the priority roads. It says all other township roads. But I wondered if it shouldn't have some wording along the lines of starting in the upper area of the villages and then moving to the lower areas of the village, because the upper areas of the village are more likely to have the more snow. Usually by the time you get out onto the flat, there's a lot less, if any, snow, and it's the upper areas of the village that hold the snow. Anything else on page 29? Page 30 says key holders, and one of them is the community board chairman, and I don't have a key, so I don't know what has happened to that or whether I should have a key.
Sort that out.
You feel like you need a key, Alice?
Well, it's always handy to have one where somebody can get their hands on it,
Yep.
isn't it?
Fletcher's got one.
Well, Fletch isn't the chairman anymore.
No, it's not the chair, because he's head of security.
Yeah. Well, do you want to put his name in there? I mean,
No, I'm just letting you know that he's got one.
yeah,
Just in case you're not around.
it's not in here, but then there's also the other people. So, but so long as there's somebody here with a key, that's fine. But yes, please, that would be great.
Madam Chair, can I add in another bullet point, having the security?
It probably would be useful so that people know who's got the keys.
Hanmer Security has probably got Fletcher's key. Seeing he doesn't live here.
I know. So we need to check that, who has the key. Thanks, Anne. Okay, further down, post-event. Just to match up with the previous stuff, they've got Chronicle Hill, Akron Heights, Shallow Crescent, Alpine Ave, Oregon Heights. St. James Ave and Thomas Hanmer Drive probably need to be added there. Nothing else on page 30? Page 31? Number 9, it's got public toilets near St. James. I'm guessing they mean the Chisholm Crescent public toilets, which is what it should say. Nothing else on page 31, 32. Page 34. I've got a number for Graham Frith if that's needed. 027-539-8484.
Sorry, 539.
027-539-8484. Page 35, 36, 37, 38. Number 7, on page 38. So that start the clearing of snow, and just relating it back to the information earlier. I wonder if we shouldn't be adding in there, clear the drains to ensure blockage causing water build-up, because that does happen, and has happened. Where the snow's covered those sumps.
Right, so you're suggesting that during the snow clearing, you want the drains cleared at the same time?
Well, it does actually say further back in the document that should happen, because otherwise what happens is the water builds up
Yeah,
against
probably
the snow.
beforehand. The drains, make sure the drains clear. Once we know that the snow's coming, not once the snow's here, they'll be flat out clearing snow.
Yeah, no, sorry. What I meant was, what happens is that the snow gets piled on top of the drains and it blocks them. The snow blocks them.
From what? More snow getting in there?
Water. The water as it starts to melt. Like if you've got a pile of snow, as the water starts to melt, it all builds up and just forms a lake all around it.
So they pile in the snow over the drain.
Yes, that happens. It's just the windrows as they're going down the street.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just giving you my local information on it. It happens.
Well, I'm not disputing, I'm just asking questions to seek clarity.
I just wasn't sure that it was what it was. Okay, so you can add that in or you can not add it in. That's just my local information because I've seen it happen over and over.
Well, I think the question would be, where would they put the snow if they don't push it into the curved channel?
They push it into the curb and channel, but then they have to come back and they have to slice it out over the drain where the drains are. There is something previously in this document about it. It does say something about it, and I just thought
Number 23 on page, yeah, I think 39, what else? After the stone stop.
Yeah, so it's the grit that blocks the drains, that's the problem.
yeah, and they are talking about the grit, but snow blocks the drains. I can only give you that local feedback. That's all I'm doing. If you don't think it's possible to do anything, that's fine, but that's what happens.
So I think this contemplates a further step, that once it stops snowing, so they've been through, they've cleared the roads. The windrows are built up, they're over the drains, like you say, and this contemplates that those drains will be cleared.
Yeah, but what happens is the water builds up around the drains.
Yeah.
And then it turns to ice.
Yeah.
And it's very slippery.
Yeah.
If you don't clear the drains.
So point 23 says if the snow and freezing conditions have abated, the operations can return to, sorry, that's,
Yeah, but that's
21.
already happened there.
Because it's all relevant, I mean, the Brownsville aren't looking at. Then it could have been done,
Yeah.
it could be due 2 days after the snow event,
It's
it's not their fault.
It's not the rubbish in the drains though, it's the snow covers the drains and the water can't, as it starts to defrost, can't go and it forms a lake. Then you get a frost in the morning and it freezes and it becomes really, really slippery. I just think, just leave it at that. If somebody can have a look into that and how you might word that, I'd appreciate it because it happens.
so what would be a good outcome for you, Alice, when the graders go and clear the road, that someone goes and clears the drain, clears the windrows off the drain at the same time?
Be aware, yes, I think so.
Or rather be aware, is that what you want to happen?
Yes, that's what I'm asking. Because otherwise it does cause a build-up of water, it causes it to be very slippery and people fall.
The drains are, can they just maybe give it a little bit away from the drain? Or, I know it's hard with the
Very
grey.
hard if everything's covered with snow, you can't see.
Yeah,
You can't. There are just piles of snow
Yeah,
at times.
yeah, no, it's gonna require someone with a shovel to go out there and clear the drains. That's the
And
case.
actually it does. I've even done the ones outside my own shop myself, so. And I know that they've had somebody come around and do them at other times,
Yeah.
but it's usually after everything's, people are falling, there's ice everywhere, so, and it's, once it turns to ice, it's really hard to get rid of. That's just my local feedback. Okay. On bullet point number 3, Thomas Hanmer Drive needs to be added in. And just for consistency under secondary priority, if you're adding in previously about the higher starting, all township roads starting at the higher elevations first. Anything else on page 38? Page 39. Page 40. So that is only a discussion item. So do you want any recommendation from us regarding any of those comments?
No, Nathan will capture them.
Thank you.
And pass that feedback back.
Okay, protocol for the temporary closure of Hanmer Springs. So there's maps in the middle there if you're looking for them, because it didn't print out. I don't know what you guys got on your yeah, and I don't, sorry, I don't know what you got on your, did you get that or did you get the maps?
No, that.
There's ones in the middle if you want to look. Okay, any comments on any of this? So just go through page 43, 44. The maps in the middle.
How do they get notified that they are closed? How does the public or anybody?
I tend to think it depends what the weather is, severe winds,
Yeah,
look at Coracle Hill or the, Village Forest and the centre of town.
Yeah, the signs go up.
Yeah.
Track closed.
Okay,
So
because
it's-
it was posted in the weekend, wasn't it? Have the tracks been closed?
Yeah, I know, but of course, this protocol's only just been put in place.
Yes.
I don't actually know what happened, no one contacted me. But what it does, say in this document is that between myself
Is that all?
and the maintenance people,
There is a report coming through that New Zealand is 1-0.
So,
Just to break the ice there. Carry on.
we needed to know that, that's good.
Yes, I thought you would. I've just got someone leaping around the lounge here. Sorry, so back to the notices.
So, according to this report, this strategy
Yeah.
is that, that's the maintenance team and me who
Okay.
communicate. And then it also depends on how bad the,
Situation is.
the situation is as to whether, other people are brought into it. So there's a whole list through there on that document as to who gets involved depending on who is, what the situation is.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So page, no point going through the maps because they aren't there apart from the middle. Page 48, 49, page 50, page 51. And there is also a comment here, is advise the staff at the Hanmer Information Centre and the Service Centre of the temporary closure and ensure notification detailing the closures is displayed at these two sites. So that's
That's good.
part of getting that information out. 51, 52, 53, 54, and 55. This also needs to go to the track network group as well, please.
Happily to circulate that.
Thank you. None?
so what did happen the weekend? Did somebody initiate the track closures?
No,
The wind was just severe.
it must have been close. Because I didn't get up there until after it was reasonably good runs on the track, Coracle Hill.
I mean, we closed the pools because the wind was.
I know.
Mm.
I'm not aware of anything happening.
So I guess you had the power to initiate the closure process according to this document as well.
Yeah,
It's not a big enough, the pool's closed, probably makes sense.
and that was the first time I knew was I was reading
Right,
it yesterday.
okay.
I wonder if that triggers an alert.
If we close the pools,
Yeah, there's got to be a good reason for that. The wind.
well, I mean, you do it on a health and safety basis for the
Yeah, obviously.
people there, but
So we do need to look into that. But that's what it is.
Yep.
At the moment. Correspondence, there is none. Our action sheet. So we're still working on sorting these out. Nathan and I have going through a couple of them, but we will sit down together, I think, and go through some of this. Because there's some historic stuff there that's not relevant anymore. Number one, the disc golf, that report's completed and that's now over to the maintenance team. So I think that we can say that's completed and finished. That can go. The village green concept. So we now perhaps you'd like to comment on this one, Dan, because as we sought clarification on this action and will engage an urban designer.
Yeah, I haven't done anything with it yet. Yeah, I'll probably for your next meeting.
Okay, which is in August, so we can go past that one. Car park metering. Okay, so I have had a discussion with Sarah at Pools in relation to car park metering. She will actually provide a written report to our next meeting that we can discuss and go through the points. But basically how this arose was that Sarah from the Pools came to the community board and asked about the putting in some meters along the western side of Hanmer Avenue in front of the Pools where people park up and stay there all day. The board members talked about whether this was viable, wanted a report or asked for a report to find out what the viability was, what the costs were, how it would be funded and how it would be overseen as well. And I think we received a question back asking us for more information, so I have asked Sarah to provide more on that. Dan.
My comments still stand from last time, that you need a legal instrument to implement fines or infringements for restrictions on parking. And the way that the law currently stands is that council infringing people to move people on to get new people in to generate more money in the pools through that lens looks self-serving. And if we challenge legally on it, it wouldn't stack. In my opinion, it wouldn't stack up. So I think the rationale might be there, it might make sense locally, but in order to use parking fines or infringements to move people on and get more people into the pools probably isn't a lawful way of going about it.
So, I mean, wouldn't that be the case everywhere where people put in parking fines is so that they can move people in and out? I mean, why else do they use parking meters anywhere?
Yeah, so it is to restrict the time parking. I guess the final point on this is that this would be council imposing a rule to advantage a council facility, and that would probably be seen as a conflict of interest. If we were to put parking meters right throughout the town to generally limit the time that people spend in parks, then that would probably be okay. But to do it specifically for the pool, which is our own business, I think would, if you look at it through that lens, it would be seen to be done to advantage our own business rather than anything else.
Okay. Well, I'll have further discussion with Sarah about that.
Would you be away with it if you did in front of the pool and in front of the shops?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was it
Yeah.
the last meeting, Dan? Did you say there was a bit of a survey going on in the village about the parking areas and how long and various things like that? Wasn't it being re-looked at?
I didn't say there was a survey, but Andrew Brown, our compliance manager, was looking at it, and I went and had a chat with him, and obviously we do have restrictions on parking spots around the town.
Mm.
But again, as Hamish mentioned, they're not specifically to Advantage Council.
So where is that at? What,
Where's what at?
any discussions you have had with, you said Andrew Brown had been looking at that, so what information do we have from that?
Well, we have nothing other than, yes, there are already restrictions in and around the village.
I mean, there might be a different way of skinning the cat. Rather than putting parking meters all the way along here, it might be that you put some time restricted parking there to encourage some faster turnover in places so that it makes it easier for pick up, drop off, whatever. There might be some different ways of doing it.
Well, I think there's an inconsistency around the village, isn't there? Really, because on the middle side of opposite the pools, you can park for as long as you like, but on the other side of the road, you can only park for 30 minutes or half an hour or something, or an hour.
On the western side,
Mm.
restricted, yeah.
Mm. And I'm not sure if there's any way that traffic is pointed down to the overflow car park.
Well, but a number of years ago, we put money in the budget to look at the town parking and traffic movement plan, but that money was this board realigned that expenditure and built some courtesy crossings instead.
Oh, I don't think that was quite the timing of it, but that's possibly what happened with the money ultimately, but the change, that money, because that happened before I came back on the community board, was the discussion about, because Rosemary filled me in on that at the time, who had been on the board up to that point, and she said that she met with you guys, looked at all the parking issues and how you might get people to park in, for instance, the Triangle car park. And she said, and then the community board changed their mind, and that was before we came back. So that if there was any money sitting there when we came on, this community board came on, then sure, and it wasn't going to be used for that, then sure, that's what happened. But there was definitely no like, oh, we're not going to do that. That had already happened. It wasn't the same board.
No, but the community board process can do.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just pointing that
So
out.
the community board made that decision. We're not saying it's the right decision or the wrong decision. They made that decision, and then that community board, the money was utilised for something else. So that's fine.
I'm just pointing out that it wasn't, we didn't have that knowledge, nor did we make that decision. So perhaps if we have to relook at it, that's fine. And actually, I wonder if it would be useful for us to get that report or that discussion, the information of that discussion that we had back then. So given that we are now again looking at parking limitations and
Yep,
time
maybe
limitations.
all the minutes out from those previous discussions about parking and traffic flows.
Yeah, that might be.
Circulate it to the board.
Thank you. Okay. Page 58, long-term actions or planning. I think that should be called long-term planning, to be honest, because that's the reason for these things being listed there, is that we want to discuss them in the long-term plan and funding options for them.
No problem.
Okay, number 1 was the 7A entrance tidy up. Any comments at that stage? Number 2, the 150-year celebrations. I have spoken with Nathan's spoken with me. I'm going to tidy that up and we're going to put the funding implications into this planning part, and we're going to leave an action under members' actions regarding the need to set up a group and identify potential helpers in relation to that. We've still got 6 years to go. It was actually interesting. You can have a look afterwards. I found in my mother's stuff, I was cleaning out a lot of newspaper articles and an actual itinerary of what was happening for the centenary back in 1983. It's probably a bit dated and not relevant to now, but it's just of interest to have a look at. It took them about 3 years to sit there and work through what they were going to do, how they were going to do it, what events they were going to have. So, yeah.
In relation to that, do you think that some of the hamstrings would be interested in funding some of this?
Well, I think that's what we need to get together and sort of start talking to people about how we might do that.
Put something out,
Yeah, but it is 6 years out, so we don't really want to go too early, but we want to be on top of it.
Yeah.
So it's probably a smaller group at this stage, working out who we might target, how we might do it, and then widen it. Definitely. Okay, number 3, that's complete. If we just give a copy of that to the, we'll circulate that to the Track Network group, please. The Hanmer Springs snow plan. That one's actually an annual review item as opposed to a long-term planning item. So that just goes under that heading along with I think there was something else there.
So, Madam Chair, we don't actually have an action, a annual review section. Do you want
Okay,
to
member,
create one? Or do you want to just leave long-term planning as one?
well, it's not long-term planning. It's because those are that's really for funding options. That long-term planning.
I can add another category.
Well, because there's also the and I noticed on page 62 the ramp. No, that's not it, is it? That's the ramp access. I mean, there's something somewhere here. Or that's your one, Chris, for the. Oh, there it is. Watch list. Stick it under watch list, please.
Yep.
I think we can sit there and go through this afterwards. Because it is a little untidy, I agree. We'll just go through the items for the moment. But so there's no plans done for now, but that can go to the watch list. Medical centre. We've been talking about that for a while. I think what we might do is go and have a chat with the Hanmer Springs Community Trust regarding the rental for the doctor's house and the medical centre. I mean, there are inflationary costs, which is probably something we would like to keep up with, but in terms of the actual cost of rental, we've got to recognise that it is a community need to have a doctor here. We're very lucky to have a doctor and a medical centre here. So I would not want to increase, for instance, we could look at what the medical centre and what those buildings would be worth on the open market, but at the same time, I think we need to recognise the community aspect of it. But I think it's worth me having a talk with Paul Walmsley and Shelley McCulley and the Community Trust. So if we just put that into my action for me to do, please. Any other comment on that one? No? Yes? No?
It would be interesting to have a more open book, look at these things and say what's actually affordable.
Yeah,
Right.
that's kind of what I'm trying to pin down.
Well, it's the same with, I'm not picking on Hanmer Springs because it's the same with all our medical centres. What can they actually afford to pay?
Yeah. And I think we can get somewhere on that, to be honest. So anyway, I shall have that come back. Pavilion upgrade and new build. I mean, that's just an ongoing thing. It's hard to know what to do at this stage. I guess it's certainly going to be one we talk about at LTP, but it's hard to know what to do with changes that are coming to Queen Mary and to possibly to our domain area. So that's just ongoing. State Highway 7A is ongoing.
Is that different item one on the list?
Yeah, it is different. Sorry, item 1, did you say? Or
Isn't
Oh,
that the same?
yeah.
Project
No, it's not the same.
entrance statement.
State Highway 7A is to do with down at that first part urban area
Oh,
as we
okay,
come into
yeah,
Hanmer.
yeah.
And the turnoff
Yeah.
is out at the turnoff. So it's State Highway 7A.
Yep. Got it.
Maybe we should put 7/7A.
No, really.
Okay. But you would have known if it was there. So I need to follow up with Glenda in relation to what we're talking about. I have had some discussions with the landowners in relation to that. They are, as far as they are concerned, they are quite keen to still carry on to do something there. They probably didn't much like our plan. I think they thought perhaps that something a bit more classical than the plan that we did have. So, I mean, that's just an ongoing discussion, but they're definitely interested in allowing that land for use, but it's whether we do it with an easement or buy the land or something like that. I mean, we have an easement for the Crawford Walkway. We don't own the land, but it's permanent easement, and perhaps do something like that. And the landowners will be very happy if we have it tidy and if we just keep communicating with them in relation to what happens there. I did explain to them that it was a long-term project, that we're looking at something maybe for a 150-year celebration, because it is going to be costly. And we need to start looking at some funding for that in advance. Where that's coming from. Okay, so number 8. Village Green, so that is that's just the funding. Once we know how much it is going to cost, it's on the previous action sheet, but that's in the previous action sheet. That is just to get a plan up and going, and then we can get put some costs to it. And once we know what the costs, so we want something for our long-term plan discussions. So that we can put some costs into place, or some funding into place. Village lighting proposal. Anne mentioned to me that Manuka Skies, she'd been talking to them and perhaps they might have some feedback. So I have spoken to them. I've also spoken to Sarah here at the pools, and both of them have some views in relation to that, and are happy to offer some information for our next meeting in August. So
I believe that the previous community board, when Mary and Jeff Daly, they had a report done. Do we know about that?
there is a report somewhere if,
About the possibility of the
the dark sky.
yes.
Yeah, there is a report somewhere that could be recirculated that came to the board at some stage. It was quite a long time ago. It's one of those things that's been sitting around on our action sheet for a very long time, and I think we either need to get it on, find out a bit more about it, do something with it, or get rid of it, one or the other. Talking to the Manuka Skies people, they did say that it may not necessarily be the village that needs to be included in that. It could be the surrounding area. From their point of view, there's a benefit to having that dark sky recognition because it puts you on an international tourism map for the dark sky. People who are wanting to view the dark sky. So, but then on the other hand, there's also some costs and royalties to having that dark sky designation. So I think that's just what we need to work our way through, is where we might have that dark sky, whether we might have that dark sky, whether we include the village or whether it's the surrounding area. But I know, let's start, we'll get those, both Sarah and Manuka Skies to come and talk to us, and also circulate that last report just to
If we can, if we can find that.
Yeah.
See what I can find.
Thank you.
Okay. So in Mary Avenue seating and footpaths. So item is work in progress. Just looking at that one for the 18th to the 11th, 24, and there was a talk about the harder wearing grass. And I think we've already discussed this. We want to take that wording out because having talked to Rosemary Ensor, who was on the previous board before I came back, and she put me on to Graham Shaw, and he said that we did try that and it didn't work. So I think we just leave out the and harder wearing grass wording, please. Okay, number 11. 150 celebrations, that's just for funding purposes, and options to rectify the Freedom camping area, which we, at the last meeting, we just deferred it to LTP. And we talked about having some local people to give us quotes for that work as well. Can I just ask, what is the cutoff for when we need to get more than one quote for a job? There's an amount, isn't there?
Yep.
Well, it depends on what the work is, who's likely to do it, but it can be arranged by cost.
Because we're talking, I mean, it's a large amount of money. It's already something like 40-something thousand that was presented previously to us. And then you indicated to us at the last meeting that it could be even up to about 60,000, given that costs have gone up. And that just seems extraordinary large amount for what we're looking at, but I'm not the rating person, or so I'll leave it up to you guys, but I just would like to see some competitive costing on it.
Yeah, I'd like to see them writing.
Yeah.
See what I'm writing.
Oh, how many people might
Quotes.
want to quote for it?
Yeah.
Well, bear in mind that there's many number of local contractors don't want to quote for council work because they see that some of our requirements are quite onerous in terms of health and safety management and those sorts of things. So there's not an abundance of people available to do the work to start with. But having said that, I've just been past today and I see that that track, the loop, has all been sort of rebuilt up anyway. And I'm guessing that was done by whoever went in and cleared a lot of trees. So I don't think that you need to spend the money doing that. You're probably just talking about the freedom camping area. And if that's the case, then the NZMCA have already come to us and said that they support freedom camping because it benefits their members, and they've got an application of all, is that word? And they've got a fund that you can apply to get some money out of them. So there's just some work going on in the background just to explore some of that and work out what we can and can't do there, and considering what's already been done.
Yeah, I did raise that at the last meeting. Work had already been done to the whole road in and the first loop. What still needs to be done is the second loop and the car park. So that still needs to be addressed. And I know, because I did ring and ask Jason, that we have at least 2 local contractors who have all the qualifications, the certification to do council work, who we could ask to get a quote from. So yeah, but it's just an ongoing discussion, we've deferred to LTP at the moment, so I'm quite happy to leave that, and certainly interested to hear what discussions you've been having with the Caravan Association.
It would be good if that came
So
off.
is there anything that they've come? Have they come up with anything so far, or the proposal? I know we did see some comment where they had come forward with some really what that proposal was, and have they come up with something definite at this stage? And when they do, we will hear about.
It's worth pursuing, yes.
Okay. It would be really good to have that information by the time we sit down and talk about LTV.
Well, that's the process that we're going through at the moment, isn't it? That all the different boards and community committees are already thinking about the long-term plan. We're drip feeding information out to start thinking about all of the bits and pieces that you want to see in the long-term plan. And where you say we want to do something like this, you'll put that in as a line item, and then we'll go away and price it. And give you some indication for the long-term plan, but we're going to try to do that for every board and every committee all at the same time. So
yep.
There will be, and there is quite a bit of work.
I can imagine. Thank you. But yeah, we do. It is information we need. Right, page 62. So these are all member actions. So it's just these ones are ones that the staff aren't necessarily involved in, or certainly not at this stage. It's ones we have to follow up and provide information either to each other or back to staff. So anything in those first 3 actions, the Knight Street. Oh, I did do a drive around last night I have to say again to check, double check the ones that I came up with, so that's something that I can pass back to Dan. It's more that there are lights not working. There were a couple of black spots, but interestingly, the whole of the north end of Arglands Road, there are 4, and they look like solar lights, and not one of them was working last night. It was completely black. So we had a really wet, horrible day yesterday. Does that mean that those lights aren't going to work when we have that kind of weather? Is that normal? Because it was completely black, the whole street. There was somebody walking along there with a torch, trying to find their way along the street. 8:30 last night.
Well, I don't know. I guess that's always a risk that you take when you go to solar lights, that if the sun's not out, then they're not going to charge the batteries fully, and you're not going to get a full night's or the full duration of that.
We have a lot of other solar lights in other places, and that's the second time I've driven down that part of Arglands Road where they haven't been working. The first time was after a beautiful sunny day, and there were 2 of the lights not working then, and 2 that were, so perhaps there's something extra going on there.
Maybe.
I mean, there were a lot of other solar lights around town that were working and they were fine. So but I'll send you a list of what I saw. Okay, anything else there on that page? I've already said what's happening with the cemetery, that there is the use of the high ebb to move those stones. Nothing else on there. Page 63. So those are the watch list things that, and we've added to that the snow plan annual review, and snow plan will now be May, because we usually get a snowfall in June. We haven't this year, but we often do.
Number 1's been started.
Sorry?
Number 1's been started.
Okay. Brilliant.
Shingle put up at the start. Next day, I believe, is the wall, and then the winter wood for fence. And down the fence off at the bottom, kind of off at the line. And those rocks have been covered. Before I knock it out, it's all been covered up.
Great. I've got to have a look up there and then for a while. Thank you. Thanks.
Well, here what I will do is go and make the edits that we talked about before the meeting. Now we know that your email is working.
Yes.
I'm going to resend you this, so feel free to put comments back.
Okay. Yeah, all right. But make it so that I can actually put strike through, so you can see what changes I've made, and
You can do that on any Word document.
yeah, okay, right. That's it. Thank you. Council updates.
Yeah, happy to take that as read, Madam Chair, or do you want me to speak to anything? Probably the most relevant is the fly ride. You've probably seen that through the media.
Yeah, I think everyone's up on that.
Yep, and the development contribution fees and charges. The rest is pretty self-explanatory, but happy to receive questions if there is any.
Any questions, guys?
That's great. Thank you.
Guess what? I've got questions. So, just in relation to some of the submissions that you got, I just couldn't quite follow what was written here, but it says the Hiranui Rubbish and Recycling argued commercial recycling collection fees unfair. Most of their customers' households already . So the answer to that was that the council debated the commercial recycling collection fee at length, and a motion to retain the proposed fee per tonne was carried. So
Correct.
okay. Fed farmers raised concerns about upfront fees for rural dwellings, developments, contributions, limb charges, permitted activities. I know there's a lot going on there, but what was the outcome of those? What was the upfront fee for rural dwellings all about?
Gosh,
This was,
can you help me?
this is for small, small standalone dwellings, Mark.
Yeah, that's the story. Thank you. Yeah.
Near and it should have, I mean, and so it was quickly corrected.
Oh, well, that sorts it then. Thank you.
Yeah, Federated Farmers probably had about 5 or 6 statements, I would say, that were made in their submission. Not majority, in fact, probably all of them weren't technically related to fees and charges. So they're providing some sort of overall context from a Federated Farmers position.
Thank you. That's probably why I couldn't understand what was happening there, because it didn't seem to answer what they were on about.
Yeah.
If it wasn't relating to the fees and charges.
You know, there was a part, and it was the it's the sole charge of $9.48 for a small standalone dwelling. So in that second paragraph, where it mentions that was relevant to the Federated Farmers submission on fees and charges.
Cool. Thanks, Hamish.
And so the small standalone dwelling, what is the 948?
That's the cost of basically council processing. We don't, it's not a building consent as such, but we're required to have a record of it, etc., etc., etc. So that's what the cost is there.
If they're going for a resort.
New Zealand have matters.
Sound has frozen for me.
Hmm.
So
I'm a bit the same man.
we're on the
We're
outer
frozen
line.
out.
We're history.
Sorry.
Are we right now?
Yeah, sorry about
Yes.
the
Yeah.
internet.
That's right. We're back.
Okay, now I get it. Thank you. And so I'm going to ask there about council, any update you've got on council amalgamations. We did send in just from Boyer, Chris, myself and Anne, we did send in our comments. So I hope you received that yesterday.
I did receive those, and I'll pass them on to be collated with all the other ones. So
Great.
send and put simplify in the header and send it to the email address. So they're now being collated with the other ones.
Thank you. Okay, so any update please on that, where we're up to, anything since last we spoke?
Well, I think it's causing a bit of chaos around the whole country. Number one, this whole process. And the Mineral Forum has said that we'd like to get something together for Canterbury as a region into the Head Start process. That's been the feedback from the community, that want us to be in the Head Start process rather than wait around. Generally, there's some support for North Canterbury as a grouping. So that's come through from the meetings that we've held. Been some support for rural Canterbury as a grouping, and there's a little bit of support for Marlborough. So you know, those options are there. There'll be a paper go to the council on the 30th of June, or plan to go to the council on 30th of June looking for the council to recommend what its preferred option is, and from there we'll go out and do some actual surveys rather than drop-in sessions that we had. There'll be some surveys go out for people to express some preferences, so it'll be more of a quantitative approach rather than the qualitative approach we've taken so far.
Okay. Any other questions?
It's probably fair to also say, Hamish, that across the engagement patterns across the whole district, there were some fairly considered and themes that came through around the North Canterbury rural, aspect that Hamish has just spoken about. So the more alignment across the whole district than not would be sort of a general opinion. But I just also want to highlight the fact that Hamish and I also did a session with the Youth Council, and really their insights to what this might mean for them as a future generation was quite significant. So it's just, I think their input is probably worthy to note as well. But other than that, nothing else. Thank you.
Can you give us any indication of what those discussions entailed and what their views were?
It was interesting.
I think it's
you go. Yeah.
Fair to say that they take a much longer term view than other members of our community. They recognise that this is a 30 to 50 year change, and they took probably a wider Canterbury view, but they were also extremely concerned about local voice, youth voice, so those sort of concerns that we've heard from the rest of the community. Is there anything else you want to put in there, Mara?
No, I think that's about it. Their considerations were probably, they had a deeper dive into some local concerns. The youth voice. Will we still have a Hiranui Youth Council? Will there be support for the Hiranui Youth Program? Because of the isolation for some of the kids in our district. So they were really looking at it from a quite a constructive view from their perspective, which was pretty healthy, really.
And the wider Canterbury view, you said that what specifically was that about?
Oh, they were just a lot more inquiring about that view. So rather than saying definitively it must be this or it must be that, they looked at the logic of a large rural entity and the voice that might have on a national stage. So
probably the biggest theme to come through is that nobody wants to tag in with Christchurch. That we want to protect some of the strength of the rural hinterland across Canterbury, but it's also really important to recognise, and it probably comes through in themes as well, that one can't do without the other, so we actually need Christchurch, but Christchurch also need us. So there's a bit of negotiating that needs to be done to get us through to the 9th of August at this point.
So, when you talk about the Canterbury rural thing, that of course wouldn't include Christchurch, would it? If you went down that track.
No.
And it has the discussion so far and the feedback been about the whole of Canterbury or Canterbury rural? What's been the main theme that's come through from the answers we've got?
I would say that number one, no one likes weekend. Number two, everyone's boxing from their own corner. So they're saying this is what's important to me and my community, and how's my voice going to be heard in a bigger entity.
So,
prob-
but
probably
in
also
terms of the makeup of the council, like how many councils, whether it's rural council or being part of YMAC or what is the feedback there as to which way we would go?
Well, I think that there were a variety of views. There was quite a bit of support for a combined Waimakariri, Huranui, Kaikoura, North Canterbury entity. There was some support for a more rural Canterbury entity, so excluding that urban part of Waimakariri. But I mean, some of these cards, they fall differently depending on what other players do. So if the city takes a bite out of one and a bite out of Selwyn, then
And discards the rest.
you're left with a different different set of possibilities if the city's staying within its existing boundary.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Certainly, the submission that some of us made was, and not as a community board, but as individual members, was along the lines of the rural.
Yep.
And also, most definitely, we're concerned about the local voice.
Yep.
Yep.
So, okay, thank you. Do we have any LTP dates yet for when we're going to have this discussion? Because we would like to have a workshop. So it would be quite good to know just roughly what our dates are. We don't have another meeting now until August.
We'll start bringing reports back from September, saying what you want to do. And then once you answer those questions in those reports, Jason will go and work up the numbers and replay it all back to you so you can see what impact it will have locally, and then you can start to make some decisions from there.
So it's going to be kind of drip fed. We won't be able to sort of sit down at any point and have a workshop on it, because actually we found that to be really, really positive last time and able to sort of get a lot of stuff bedded down all in one.
You can have workshops if you like.
I know, but we've got to have the information.
What information are you after?
Well, the things that we've actually asked for and that all listed there for the LTP. So some of those things require some costing information so that we can work out how or where with Jason that we might put that into action.
Yeah, that will be done once Jason's worked out the numbers. Because what you're doing is you'll be nice, otherwise it'll be an isolated, because we're asking you about leases and licenses, we're asking you about maintenance plans, we're asking you about footpaths and all those sorts of things. So we're going to get all this information back about what you want to do, and then we'll have to work it out how much it's all going to cost.
So that's at what point we can have a workshop.
Then you can have probably when Jason's put all the numbers into the system, then he can come back and have a conversation with you and say, this will be this much, this will be, and this is the net effect for you to be able to turn around and say, okay, well, we don't want to do that. We'll push that one out to year 7, etc., etc.
Okay, and so at what point are we likely to get to that of having a workshop? Do you think?
You'll have the numbers back, hopefully. I mean, I don't want to speak to Jason's but we're looking probably around about October-ish, November-ish. I mean, we probably need to be sending a nice clear signal to council by December.
Okay, it just gives us some idea. And if we can make a recording of that in our action sheet, just so we know that that's roughly what those timing is.
I think the other thing that you'll have to consider in the long-term plan is the rates cap. So the government's imposing a rates cap, and it's going to be around 4%. And if you take if you say, well, we're gonna increase our amenity rates by 5%, and somebody else has got to only increase theirs by 3%, sort of thing. So it's got to be balanced out. So, you just need to be thinking about that as well.
When are they going to bring that in?
It's phasing in during the term of the long-term plan. So my understanding is to be fully in place by 2028.
Yeah.
But they're also going to provide strong feedback in the interim.
Okay. Because one of our concerns there is I think we've got something like an 8% increase on just on our amenity rate.
Yep.
So that we can deal with our debt.
Yep.
It's pathetic. Okay. Not the council's fault, not blaming it. I'm just like, it's just an unrealistic 4%.
Yep.
I mean, is that even going to keep up with inflation? Well, where does this 4% figure come from? I suppose they're basing it, surely they're basing it on inflation or something.
They magicked it up.
That's what it seems like.
Only about 40 people in a room decided it.
This is 2 to 4% cap, so 4% is our maximum.
Just gets better. Right, okay, so what happens if this government goes? Is the next government likely to continue on with that?
It's wildly popular. If I
Bizarre.
was the next government, I'd be carrying on with it because it's wildly popular.
It's not what we wanted to hear.
And I know, but it's, how do they expect? And then the next thing we have is all these complaints about what we do and don't do. Can't do anything because we're just hamstrung by debt. I know. I'm putting it out there. There'll be somebody listening who might listen. So it is really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, Australia Council has gone bankrupt because of the rates cap.
Yeah, that's stunning, isn't it? Stunning stupidity from above. Okay, won't do any more on that. There's been complaints on the this is to do with the removal of rubbish bin at top of Conical Hill. A number of complaints came up on the Hanmer Facebook site, so I spoke to Sally Cracknell about what happened and why. And what was happening was that pretty much the only rubbish that was going into those bins was household rubbish, and that twice now they'd had to replace the bin up there because somebody ripped the top off so they could fit their household rubbish in. So the bin's been removed. And I probably would support what she says, unless anyone's got any other thoughts on that.
Thank you, Robert. Really take it very well.
Well, I noticed that one of the comments that somebody put on that Facebook site was, if you can walk up the road with a full cup of coffee, you can walk down the road with an empty one. Well, it was quite a good comment.
And I think too, it needs to be brought up that because when I'm at the library, I'm selling a lot of rubbish bags now because the other two places that are in the village are now not selling rubbish bags. So it's something that probably needs to be addressed because the library, of course, only has unlimited hours. I believe the service station might be the only other one that is selling them because the liquor store isn't, and so neither is the log cabin. So we're in a bit of a fix with regard to that. So I'm not sure how we get out of that. I think it is on our list of actions to deal with publicising that out in the village, but we haven't sort of got round to how we're going to do that yet. I think we're waiting for Lorna and Tom to perhaps be back. But it is an issue that we need to deal with because of the rubbish bag supply and where people can buy them.
Yeah, it might be with your other hat on working in the library, raise it up through that way, that there is a demand on you, and maybe Cynthia or Naomi can have a chat with Sally about trying to find another outlet.
I think they might be working on that, Dan, but I don't know. I think Sally was going to approach the information centre, but I'm not sure about that, where we're at.
Do we have Jason on board?
Yep, is that there?
Yes, Madam Chair, can we get
Yep, I'm here.
for the council report, please, that was received?
Just to let you know, the ball whites have gone down 3.
Yes, they have.
So, rightio.
Or
Financial
didn't? No, but can you just hold on one moment? We just need to make a recommendation that the information be received. I'll move that the information be received in terms of the council update cover. Second, Chris. All in favour? Yes. Aye. Against? Fine. Okay, page 67, financial report. Thanks, Jason.
Radio. There's not a lot of change from the report I did last month. So this is the 11 months up to the end of May. So we're just over a week away from the end of the financial year. But to the end of May, yeah, we know we started the year with a debt of 973,000. Total revenue for the 11 months was 516,000, and then our total expenditure down most of the way down ended up being 393,000, meaning the closing balance at the end of May was 850,000 in debt. So knocked off quite a bit there. You can see that items like salary and wages, as we were last year, we're significantly down on what we had allowed for in the budget. We've got a couple of key projects there, the Village Hub and also the roof repaint in the Springs. The total of those are about 84,000 together. Only a tiny amount of expenditure has gone against those, so that's a savings for this year, but it will flow through into the next financial year. And then
those two items would be carried forward.
Correct, and I think we actually had carried them forward formally in the budget because we knew they weren't going to be completed by the end of June. And
also the contract. There's a lot of contractors and salaries and wages, you did say, but also contractors. Is there a lot of, cleanup to come through there? A lot more bills to be paid, or are we up to date?
I can't tell you off the top of my head, Madam Chair. I know under general amenities, we have this line item for regulatory contractors, which we've, spent very little of over the journey, but we've always had a $20,000 budget for that. But I do take it under the township and also the reserves. I think both of those we've got significant budgets for contractors, of which we've spent very little to date. So, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head whether there is still any significant costs that need to come through, but we'll know that pretty soon. Certainly by the time you get the June report, possibly in April, it'll give you a pretty clear idea on how much savings overall, or how much additional we've spent over the year. But looking at the numbers at the minute, we're probably going to be well under. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, as well as the 8% increase in the rates that you talked about earlier. We're recording some savings in the operating expenditure, which in turn is bringing down that level of debt. Track Network Group, bottom of page 68. currently sitting with a balance of 67,000, and if you, page 72 gives a full breakdown of where we are at the end of May. And again, that's one item if there is funding left over, which is likely to be at the end of June, that just carries forward into the next financial year. Page 69, top of page 69 is the weather contingency fund, and we did apply about $7,000 of costs to this fund, but there is still approximately 44,000 left in the fund there. You know, we do put 10,000 from the amenities rate aside to bolster this fund, and yeah, it just builds up and used as and when required. Okay, then we've got a raft of accounts that have got deficits. So we've got the roadside construction account, key works done there. We've done some street lighting and some other work for the Hanmer Ave crossing. So that's brought that balance into debt of about 200,000. As we move forward with the long-term plan, there is plans to address that debt. The two accounts relating to the medical centre, and the medical centre itself currently got a debt of about 148,000, and the doctor's house a debt of 111,000. So both of those are getting gradually repaid, and certainly over the course of the next long-term plan, both of those accounts should be repaid. Hardy Annual, the Township Development Contributions Fund started the year with a debt of just over $250,000, but we've had significant amount of development recorded during the financial year, so that's brought that balance down to about 145,000. Right, we've got the remaining, the bottom of page 69 and over on page 70 are just the various funds, special funds that you have in place. We've got the Walkway Fund, which has got a balance of 13,500. Top of page 70, we've got the Bridge Preservation Fund, where we made a payment through to NZTA of 23,000, but still got made a payment of 93,000. Sorry, but we've still got a balance of 23,000 there. We've got the Hanmer Tourism Fund, again generated from the bungee jump royalties. We did make some grants to the Business Association earlier in the year for those items of just over $10,000. So there's still 35,000 in that account. We've built up the Development Contribution Fund for the Domain, so it's currently sitting at 268,000. And we've got the Pavilion Fund, where we put some money aside a few years ago. That's got a balance of 28,000 currently. We've got the Contestable Fund with a total balance of 81,000, and the full breakdown is on page 71. And then finally, we've got the Staff House Fund, where we did significant works in the last financial year, and there was still roughly about 30,000 left in that account. So it's still increasing due to level of interest, but yeah, that is a balance that can be utilised on the various reserves in the township. Yeah, don't have much else. Madam Chair, more than happy to answer any questions.
In terms of something like the Waiau Ferry Bridge Preservation Fund, we as a board would always be asked, would we not, that if, when NZTA want to do some work and how much that work is, that would have to be approved through us first, wouldn't it?
Generally, and I know that Charlie put a report to the board earlier in the year saying that there was work that needed to be done, and just highlighting the fact that that part of the fund will be utilised for that purpose.
Yeah, you did. I agree. You always want to make sure that they never ask for more than what's in there. That's all. I wouldn't want to go into debt for them.
And I think they're certainly mindful of how much is in that account.
I do recognise that it's really important that we keep the bridge operational and up there, and if they're going to continue to look after the bridge and keep it as part of the state highway system, then I don't mind them using that money for that. That's fine. I would just wouldn't want it to be more than what's in there when they ask for it.
So can I just ask, does NZTA pay for that, but then we theoretically pay for it?
I think it's a shared cost.
Because the bridge is looking pretty tacky, to be honest.
The wooden
sites
are pretty ordinary, aren't they?
Yeah. And on the Hanmer side, the bridge sign's all fallen over. And
so, can we pass that comment back to NZTA, please? Because it is. You're right. Thank you.
We'll feed it back through to Charlie. He can pass on those comments to NZTA.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions, comments on the finances? I'll move the information be accepted. Second. Chris. The motion all in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you.
Okay. Eddie.
Thanks, Jason. See ya.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion items? Any other business there?
Can I just ask the question about the policing in Hanmer? I believe we're down to one policeman.
Okay, we haven't had any definite feedback, but my understanding is that we've got one of our policemen doing training at the moment, but we're not down to one.
Correct.
So,
so we're then reliant on what? Culverden if something happens when he's on holiday or got a day off, or? And I thought that was what there was a public outcry about.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything and haven't been able to find out anything about us losing a policeman at this stage, or like losing numbers of policemen, but I believe that we have one of our guys doing training, and that at the moment it's a quiet time of year for them, so we may not be needing anyone, but if we do, we'll certainly be calling out.
I think the position's vacant because is he moving to Amberley? He'll be community policing in Amberley.
I haven't heard that at this stage. Yeah. Hamish, did you?
No, I don't know anything about somebody else.
But certainly, if we do hear that, we will be saying, because that certainly wasn't what was agreed on at our all our meetings with the police, is that we would retain 2 policemen.
Just, if I may, Madam Chair, I haven't had a recent conversation, but and I'm not aware of any situation or status change in Hanmer Springs, but my awareness is that we have a full contingent, and actually the Amberley, which was due to lose staff, have been retained through that reshuffle process. So, but I haven't, and I'm not aware and haven't heard anything about any changes or pending changes to Hanmer Springs staffing models. So I'll keep my ear to the ground and keep you posted.
Great.
Would appreciate, thank you. Yeah. Okay, any other questions, discussion? We 3:15 and I will read the closing karakia. Kua mutu a mātou mahi mō tēnā wā, mana a ki tia mai mātou katoa o mātou hoa o mātou whānau. Aiau ki te rangi. Our work has finished for the moment. Bless us all, our colleagues, our family, and peace to the universe. We're closed.
And there's no meeting next month.
No meeting next month.